أعوذ بالله من شر الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. السلام عليكم my dear sisters and brothers. Today we're going to continue with our discussions regarding the Mahdi, the Imam of our time, Ajlallah Ta'ala Farajul Sharif. And we're going to discuss today, instead of discussing the Mahdi in himself, we're going to discuss our duty towards our Imam. So we're going to delve into things we can do in our daily lives, ways we can approach our Imam, and what our duties are towards him. And this is possibly the most important part or aspect of learning about the Mahdi, عليه السلام, because he's the Imam of our time. Just because it's not a part of our daily life, just because we cannot say his name, just because we cannot physically engage with him, does not mean that our duty flies out the window. We still have a duty towards our Imam, even in the time of the occultation. Whether it was a Ghaybat al-Zughra or Ghaybat al-Kubra, all people who he is an Imam for have a duty towards him. So I'll just start with in Surah Al-Isra, ayah 71. It says, "Remember the day when we will call every people with their Imam." So this refers to us in the day of judgment. We call us with our Imam. So we'll have to know who our Imam is first and foremost before that day. So every people from the time of Adam alayhi salam, all people had an Imam. And this Imam can either be in a form of a prophet or a wasi, as we have in our Imam. So we'll delve into that further on. So what is an Imam? Let's first and foremost discuss this. I know I've delved into this before, but I just want to clear it up a bit more. So what is an Imam? So in Surah Al-Anbiya, ayah 73, it says, "And we made them Imams who guided people of our command." Can anyone else give me another explanation of what an Imam is, just to see if you guys remember my previous explanations of Imam? Can anyone give me just an example? What is an Imam? Is it specifically just this is an Imam, is it a title? What is an Imam? Oh, I know you guys know this. I'm not judgmental, it's fine. You can say whatever you, what do you feel an Imam is? Why is no one so scared?
I missed it a couple of weeks, I'm afraid. There's the term Imam and there's the term Hujjah, right?
Yeah.
But as far as what we know about who the Imams were, we know that they were firstly leaders and secondly examples. Putting into practice. So is an Imam both the leader and an example to cover those areas of need?
That is the most the easiest way to define this, that an Imam is a leader. Now Imams come in two forms. You can either have a bad Imam or a good Imam, and the bad Imams are the Muawiyahs, the Yazids. They're still leaders. An Imam can be, the word Imam is the word it means leader. The Hujjah is by itself. If you want to look at the word Hujjah by itself in a usuli kind of way, Hujjah is authority. It means authorities, and Hujjiyya means to have authority. For example, the Quran is a Hujjah because it has complete authority over our laws, and so it's 100% foolproof. But so an Imam is a leader, someone who we follow, someone who has people who follow him. Now, some prophets are not Imams because they have we'll delve into that again. And when his Lord tried Ibrahim with certain words, he fulfilled them. He said, "Surely I will make you an imam of them." And this is in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 124. Ibrahim said, "And what of my offspring? My covenant, does it not include do they not include the unjust?" said he. Which leads us to ask, we'll get to this, if we lived in the time of the Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, would we be bound to certain duties towards him because he was the imam of his time? So we have specific behaviors towards the Prophet, and the people who were underneath the Prophet's rule, they had specific behaviors and specific guidelines which they had to follow, and specific duties towards the Prophet ﷺ. So would that not in return mean that because the Prophet was an imam, a leader for his people, would that now not mean that our imam, we have a duty towards him, just as people in the time of the Prophet had a duty towards the Prophet? Now let's get back to the topic of duty. First duty. What is our first duty? It's recognition of the imam through his name and genealogy. This is an obligatory duty. This is something that we must all know. So it's an obligation for us to know, recognition of him through his name and through his genealogy. Now, can someone give me just one name of our imam and give me an explanation of that name? Just choose, because he has lots of titles. Can someone just give me one title and explain? Yes. Al-Muntazar. What does Al-Muntazar refer to? What does it mean? Yeah. It's Al-Muntazar. Yeah, so it's awaited. Yeah, so people are awaiting him. And another one, which is my favorite, is Al-Muntazir. So he is also awaiting the advance. Someone just give me just another name. Yeah, well, what does Baqiyatullah? Can someone give me? You guys know this.
The one who left from Ahlul Bayt.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a remnant of, yeah. Can you just give me just one, I'm trying to get some engagement going on here. Yes, it's that. Yeah. So there's all these different names, and what I'm trying to explain here is that we have to know these titles and his names and what do they attribute to. Because when you know the titles, you begin to understand who the imam is himself and what is his objective, what is his mission, what is his place as an imam. Now, which leads me to the second duty. Duty of special and distinguishing features. So that's the second duty we have to, which includes the signs of reappearance. So a special feature of the imam is that we have to await special features. There are signs of his reappearance, and that's within the title of special features. So when we know the signs of his reappearance, and we've talked about this before, what the signs of the imam are, we are also recognizing him through his special features. Now, the most obligatory duty is to recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and confess the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After that, the recognition of the messenger of God and to testify for his prophethood, which is what we do 5 times a day. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. Now, another obligatory duty is to follow an imam in every circumstance after recognizing him by his names and qualities. The minimum level of recognition of the Imam is to first believe that except for the rank of prophethood, he is equal in all aspects to the Messenger of Allah. So except for the title of messenger, he is equal to the Prophet of Allah. If we say that he is not equal, then we would be denying his infallibility. The second, that the Imam is a successor of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And obedience of the Imam is obedience of Allah. So those are the things those are our duties to recognize. So it's our duty to recognize these things. We should know that the Imam after the Prophet is, so we should know who he is. So first we have Ali ibn Abi Talib, after him Hassan ibn Ali, then Hussein ibn Ali, then Ali ibn Hussein, then Muhammad ibn Ali, then Ja'far ibn Muhammad, then Musa ibn Ja'far, then Ali ibn Musa, then Muhammad ibn Ali, then Ali ibn Muhammad, then Hassan ibn Ali, then the Hujjah, son of Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. Now, when I grew up, I always found it really hard to remember the names of the 12 Imams. And whenever my dad tried to teach me, I just used to run away. Call it the devil's job. Even when he tried to teach me the Quran, I just used to, because I was a peanut when you're a kid, you're like, I don't want to learn this is, I just want to have fun, I just want to play around, I want to go on the roof and play. But in school, they used to teach us this song. They said, Abbal Imam Ali, Imam Hassan. So they used to encourage kids through song to learn the names of the Imams. And I used to get bored of that when I was a kid as well. But like when I grew up, I'm like, I'm like, okay, all right, I returned back to the childish way of learning things because that just made it easier. So I really finished off the topic here. So what I'm trying to say is that it's important to know the names of your imams, their genealogy, who they came from. Who is their parent. So you have to lead your current imam to the Prophet ﷺ. These are our duties of recognition. So we have recognition of his names and titles, recognition of his genealogy, and in understanding his genealogy we are respecting him further, and understanding his infallibility and his relation as the Hujjah of Allah. And third, we have recognition of his infallibility, and we have the recognition of his imamate, which is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we understand things like this, and someone comes along and they profess to be the imam, you will be able to say, hang on, these things don't belong to you. So we can recognize that who is false and who is correct. Does that make sense? Then not even the positive. So other duties we have towards our imam. To be respectful while mentioning him. A believer should always mention the imam with the best of titles. So choosing the best of titles. My favorite title, and so it's okay to have a favorite. We all have something to relate to. My favorite title is Al-Hujjah. That's my favorite title. A lot of people say Al-Mahdi. So everyone has their own, but mine is Al-Hujjah because it says proof. It's undeniable proof. And I could talk about this for 5 hours, the undeniable proof of the imam, but I'll stick on topic. So a believer should always mention the imam with the best of titles. A believer should refrain from uttering his actual name. So a lot of ulama say that it's haram to say his name. Some of them say it's makruh, some of them say you can write it down. There's the whole system of things. But the best way to do this is to take the way of precaution. So if you don't know, always take the side of precaution. So we don't mention his name until his reappearance. Because precaution demands that we avoid using his real name in assemblies and gatherings. Using his real name in assemblies and gatherings and referring to him by other well-known titles. Another duty we have towards our imam is loving your imam. We all know that loving the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam is something that is obligatory to us, the believers of the 12 Imams, the believers of Ahlul Bayt. So loving the Ahlul Bayt is something that is obligatory to us. And not loving your Imam would either deny him a part of the Ahlul Bayt, a position in the part of the Ahlul Bayt, or it would mean that you are denying the Ahlul Bayt themselves. So you can't just say, I love the Imams up to this Imam. That would deny the whole point of the system of the Ahlul Bayt. So if you love the 12 Imam, you would, in order for that to be a correct way of loving the 12 Imam, you have to love all the other Imams, reaching to the Prophet ﷺ, and vice versa. Second reason why we should love the Imam is that when you love someone, doing something for them becomes easy, and it becomes something you want to do. You know, for example, I love my mom, and I know she likes a good cup of tea. So, you know, making that nice cup of tea is not going to be a hassle for me, because it will be something that I want to do because I want to make my mother happy. So when you love someone, making them happy is not going to be a hard task. Even the impossible becomes possible for you. In Bihar al-Anwar, there's a verse from Imam al-Rida who narrates from the Prophet. It says, leading from the Prophet, you can't hear the Prophet. One who wants to meet the Almighty Allah in a perfect condition of faith and with Islam should have the wilayah of the Hujjah, the master of the age, the awaited one. Thus, they are the lamps of darkness and the imams of guidance and the banner of piety. One who loves them and has their wilayah, for him I guarantee that the mighty Allah would admit into paradise. So if you're a firm believer in the 12th Imam, reaching Allah becomes easy. You know, the way to finding Allah becomes much easier, and it says here, will be admit into paradise. So you lose nothing by loving the 12th Imam. Now another duty that we have towards our Imam is making him loved and popular amongst people. And this is probably the most important duty, because I think Brother Talib in his verse said, if you have knowledge, share it. It's good enough that you have knowledge about something, but if you keep it to yourself, no one else will have that knowledge, and no one else will benefit from it. So in a way, you know, if you love your Imam and you love someone else, the best way to show that person you love them is to help them also to love the Imam. Reason dictates that we propagate the love of one whose love is wajib, and it is the best of deeds. The best deed is if you love someone, you encourage others to love them too. Example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Musa alayhi salam, make me loved amongst my creatures. Now why did he say that? He said that in the context of make me loved amongst your creatures, and then it was added that tell them of my bounties, tell them of when they come to me, what I give them, tell them of my mercy, you know. So the best way you can help someone love your Imam, love their Imam, which is our Imam, is to describe the benefits of loving the Imam, the mercy that I think last week I was talking about that if praying directly to Allah is not the first way you can pray. You can sometimes I want to, like du'a tawassul. What's the whole point of du'a tawassul? He said, oh Allah, I don't know how to pray for you properly, so I'm praying to these people so that they pray for me because they have a higher place than me. So when they, for example, my dad listens to my sister Zahra's words more than he listens to my words, because she's the responsible one. So I always try to convince her of something to do for me, and I tell her, go convince Dad. You know, because her words are, you know, taken a bit more seriously than mine. You know, because she's the older one. You know, so that's the whole point of God to us. I just really simplified it down. Okay. Now, most importantly, it is not to add an agenda when you're describing the imam. What do I mean when not to add an agenda? So, for example, I'm giving a talk today about Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam. But in my talk, I'm trying to sway you into another discussion that benefits me or benefits a cause I'm trying to do. So don't attach the imam to your own specific cause, because the imam has his own cause and agendas to himself. And if we don't know, and if we add another cause that has not previously been proven or stated by the Prophet, by the imams, or the Quran, it would be an injustice towards the 12th imam. 5 minutes? Thank God. Another duty that we have towards the imam is awaiting his reappearance. Awaiting his reappearance is a duty in itself. So we've talked about the concept of actively awaiting the imam. There lies excellence in awaiting and a reward for the awaiter. I've talked about before how when you are living a life apart from your imam, but you live it in such an accordance as though you are currently living with your imam, it has such a higher place that it's considered better than people who are actually present in the time of the Mahdi. So currently we cannot know what rules, what guidelines, what kind of lifestyle people will have. We can just guess. There are things that hint to what kind of lifestyle we'll have. But if we try to attain to live our lifestyle, because Islam is not a religion. It's a lifestyle. Islam itself is a lifestyle. It's not just, I am a human being from 9 to 5, because I have to work, and then after that, just in the prayer time, I am a Muslim. Then I go back to being just a regular person. Then Asha prayer, I'm back to being a Muslim. And Salat al-Layl, I'm back to being a Muslim. And in between, I'm just doing regular things. No, Islam is a lifestyle. It's a way of living. And when you discover the way of living through Islam, even your daily duties of work, everything else becomes prioritized as well. So there's a quote from Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salam. It says, awaiting for the reappearance is the best act of worship. So just actively awaiting, and reading dua al-faraj, or just saying al-ajal, al-ajal, all these things, these are the best act of worship. Awaiting by itself. And there are people who say, don't be too patient with the return of the imam. Be anxious for him to return. Don't be too patient. I know bad things will happen, but someday. No, be eager for the return. Don't be too patient for the return of the imam. Try to hasten it. And some people say, I'll try to hasten it by creating more oppression. No, that's not what I mean by hastening it. No, creating more oppression is not the best way. The more oppression there is, the faster the return. But don't be the person who creates the oppression. Try to be the person who creates the kind of environment that the imam would want to live in, the kind of people that the imam wants to lead. There's another quote which I'll end with from Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. It says, one of you who dies awaiting for Imam al-Mahdi dies as if he was with him in his tent. So if you are in a state of waiting for the imam and you happen to die in that state, you would die as if you died in the tent with the imam. And I don't know if there's a higher place of being than that place. And I'll end with that, and I'll continue with the duties that we have towards our imam in my next talk, inshallah. And I'll just end with that, and I'll see you next week, inshallah. صل على محمد وعلى محمد.